Hi guys, welcome to Book Time. My name is Julia. Today I'm going to be doing a review of a book I just finished reading called The Death of Noah Glass by Gail Jones. This book is currently shortlisted for the Miles Franklin Award, or the Miles Franklin Literary Prize, I think it's called officially, which is sort of Australia's main fiction prize. Currently I'm trying to read through the shortlist because the winner is going to be announced at the end of July. So I just buddy read this with Jacqueline and Natalie, which was great fun. Those two are excellent buddy readers and have so many great insights and made the experience really enjoyable. This story follows three main characters, Martin and Evie Glass, who are siblings, and their father Noah. So Noah is already dead by the time the narrative starts. He's found face down in a swimming pool. The police don't really consider it suspicious, so they aren't investigating. But soon after his death, they suspect that he might have been involved in an art theft in Italy. And so even though he died in Australia, they're wondering if the death is related to this art theft that he's allegedly been involved in. Now, Noah was an art historian, so in Italian art, so he's, there's a reason behind their suspicion. And then Martin, the son, is an artist, and Evie is an ex-academic. Evie and Martin are definitely the focus of the story. Most of the story is told from their sort of perspectives about grieving their father, their relationship with their father, their relationship with each other, all their insecurities and fears. It's really not a mystery about the art theft and the death of Noah Glass, even though the book kind of sets itself up to be that. It's really about parent-child relationships, family relationships, and also the grief and loss that can attend those relationships when a parent has died, but also even, while he was alive. So they spend a lot of time reflecting about when Noah was alive and how functional or dysfunctional their relationships with him were. So that stuff is all really well written, but Martin, the son, does go over to Palermo in Italy to try and work out whether his dad was in fact involved in this art theft or not. That said, I would say the pace of the story is a really slow burn. So if you're someone who loves really thorough characterization and character-based novels, this one is potentially for you. The plot is slow to non-existent, so even though it has this mystery element, I would definitely say that is not the focus at all. It's semi-wrapped up by the end of the novel, but not really, and I would say the focus is definitely on the characters and their feelings and relationships about grief and their death and stuff like that. Gail Jones has a really interesting writing style. It's dense but easy to read. I don't know if that makes sense, but what I mean by that is it's not complicated. You can read it, and Natalie, Jacqueline and I actually read the novel quite quickly, but each sentence is very full of information and full of musings and insights about all sorts of things, the frailty of the human body, grief, love, all these things that come up in the novel. Now, some people are really going to love it, and I between the three of us in the buddy read, we all had very different reactions. I was kind of in the middle of the other two, one of whom liked it and one of whom did not. And I really liked Gail Jones' writing style. I found it really interesting and articulate and detailed. I did find it a bit cold and distant. I found sometimes there was a bit too much focus on her trying to make these serious insights that it meant I struggled to read the story because I felt like nothing was actually happening. That said, for the first half of the novel, I really did enjoy it. It was just by the end I found it a bit wearying and cold. It would not stop me reading her other work though. I would really love to see how she employs her writing style in a different type of narrative. Another thread of the story that I haven't yet mentioned is that the narrative also traces Noah, so the guy who's died, his life from birth to death basically. And some of it doesn't seem to be that relevant to the story. There's a lot of detail about his childhood spent at a leper colony because his own father was a missionary there. And And while that illuminates a fair bit about Noah's relationship with his father, which is relevant in the sense it's a father-son relationship, and some of the dysfunction there is then later mirrored in his relationship with his own son, the stuff about the leper colony seemed really extraneous, and it was also an Australian Aboriginal leper colony, and it felt like it had kind of just been shoved in there but not explored thoroughly enough. So we all decided in the Buddy and Read that was a bit strange, and it wasn't that effectively worked into the narrative. So there are some bits of the book that seem a bit superfluous in terms of the characterization. So there's a lot of detail, not sure how it's always relevant. That said, for the most part, I really enjoyed reading this, primarily for the writing style and all of Gail Jones' descriptions of Italy, and Palermo in particular. The sense of place was reasonably strong, but it was also very consumed by, you know, the sort of darkness of Martin's own grief and existential fears. So, but that made for a really interesting read because you saw the city like through the kind of prism of his unstable kind of condition, I suppose. There was a lot of stuff going on about masculinity and like fragile masculinity, and how certain types of like certain ideals of manhood are always looking for redemption, often through women, and that fails because obviously women are people in their own right and can't save men all the time. And a lot of stuff about masculine fear of the frail body. So I do recommend it if you really, particularly if you like slow burn novels. And this was like a slow burn, not even really a burn, because it didn't ignite into a fire, nor did it it just kind of died out at the end. But I think a lot of people would really enjoy it. If you don't like slow character-based stories, don't read this. You won't like it at all. Anyway, I hope to get back to you soon with another book from the Miles Franklin shortlist. We're currently buddy reading The Lebs by Michael Muhammad Ahmad, and so far that's great. That is about toxic masculinity in the Lebanese, in a Lebanese boys' high school in Sydney. So I hope you guys have a great week, and we'll chat soon. Bye.